Hello, welcome my bold bearded friends. This will be the video best spring and summer fragrances for men 2025. I anticipate this to be a very long video, so I probably will cut it down in half and have a day video for summer and spring and a evening dating part for summer and spring 2025. So grab yourself some coffee and let's get started. First of all, I only have 5 tester strips left and way too many fragrances and not enough skin on my body, I guess, to put them all on. So I will only put some on the skin. We're starting off today with a old school masculine fragrance. This will be Versace The Dreamer. And I will actually put this one on skin. I have to shower after all these fragrances, but that's alright. And this will be a real nice spring fragrance. It has a very noticeable tobacco note. And it really screams masculinity, but in a old school way. I can't remember when this one was released, but I think in the 70s, 80s, somewhere around that. Why I put this one in spring and not in summer is because of the scent profile. It's really a tobacco-y, full, if you will, fragrance. And will be way too heavy for the warmer months. So if you live somewhere with a very warm spring also, or just on very warm spring days, don't wear this one during the day, perhaps in the evenings. But it's a real nice masculine, a bit heavier kind of scent, nice old school manliness. But I think if you are like in the age range between, say, something 15 and 30, which I'm still in actually, but never mind. This one will be, I think, a little bit too mature for some man. For it will be, it's a bit outdated. It's old school, classy. It's very heavy tobacco-y note, but in a real old school masculine way, instead of the pipe cherried tobaccos we have nowadays. This is a different take on tobacco. Definitely check it out. It's quite a cheap fragrance. And on to the next one. And we're going strong with other old school masculine fragrances. I have timestamps in this video, so you know, look for the ones you're really interested in. And this will be Azzaro for Homme. Also an old school masculine chippy, but this one, instead of the heaviness of the tobacco in the first fragrance, this one has a green soapy vibe in it. And this is actually a fragrance I really disliked first time smelling it. It just smelled like the combination between an old man and soap. A soapy old man, if you will. Which doesn't sound that attractive, I guess. But after smelling it multiple times and eventually buying it, it has a nice cleanliness to it, with a combination again of the old school masculine vibe. And I really like that in Azzaro pour Homme. Also, this one is a real cheap one. Granted, this is only 30 milliliters, but I paid like 10 euros for it, something like that. So, you know, if you you can find it probably still at discounters and online. In store, I don't think so. It will be too old, but real nice, and definitely check it out. Azzaro pour Homme. To throw it around a little bit, instead of all old school masculine fragrances at the very beginning of this video, let's put one in between. And I would like to put in between Abercrombie and Fitch. And this is Fast Instinct. And this is an interesting fragrance because it has, while we're still on the spring part of the video, it has still a nice freshness in it, but also a nice watermelon vibe. I'm actually gonna spray it on a tester strip. But yeah, that's better. And it's actually, this one is also real nice in summer. Not when it's too hot, that's why I put it into the spring list. But it has a nice bit of sweetness, watermelony sweetness, with a quite a soft projection. So it's not too overbearing, not too much, but it's just nice, sweet, not too sweet, a little bit sweet, fresh, fruity fragrance, which makes it quite interesting. However, again, this is not an old school masculine fragrance, so it doesn't have that old school masculine projection or longevity. This one, on my skin at least, is quite short-lived, with not too much projection, but still a nice fragrance. Abercrombie Fitch, Fast Instinct. Then we're going on to one of it's a bit of a personal fragrance for me. This was really the fragrance of my late grandfather. I made a couple of videos already about this one. This will be Boss Bottled EDT. There is, of course, nowadays a whole line of it. This is actually the very bottle of my grandfather, so I don't wear it too often. I think just a couple milliliters since the last time you used it. But this is, of course, known for its cinnamony apple pie fragrance. Again, that's why I put it into spring and not into summer part of this day fragrance video. This is just a nice cozy fragrance. Again, it has the cinnamon, it has the apple pie vibe, but it lacks the real sweetness fragrances have nowadays, and isn't that spicy. And that means that this fragrance doesn't become that heavy, if you will, so it's still real nice, wearable in the warmer seasons like spring and actually also summer. I think, especially if you live in a little bit colder climates, let's say Northern Europe, as I do, this one is a nice year-round kind of fragrance. Perhaps not in winter, for it's just not sweet or spicy enough to cut through the cold, but it's a nice everyday kind of fragrance. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely check it out. Also, Boss Bottled by Hugo. The next one will be for a little bit warmer kind of climate, and this one is Varvatos Artisan. And this is a real nice, I really like this one, a real nice citrus fragrance, which smelling it, I always think about a nice cold glass of orange juice. It has that kind of vibe, and that's why I really like this fragrance. Again, this fragrance is also pretty short-lived, a couple hours, 5 hours, something like that. Perhaps 6 if you spray very heavily. And also projection is not that great. But it's a really likable scent, and especially if you, you have a summer date during the day and it's really hot. This one could be really nice because of the little bit of sweetness in it. It's also really cheap, 15 euros, 20 euros, something like that. Varvatos Artisan. And we're going back to the old school masculine kind of fragrances. And this one will be Drakkar Noir by Guy Laroche. And this is, of course, a old school hair on the chest putting kind of fragrance. So definitely wear this one in spring when it's a little bit colder, perhaps a little bit more close to the winter. Now, early spring isn't as potent as it used to be. Of course, didn't live in that back then. This was more of my parents' era, I guess. But that means you maybe have to spray a little bit more. But it's a real nice, heavy and busy scent, if you will. It has really way too much notes in it. But it's a real nice aromatic fougere kind of fragrance. Definitely old school masculine. It's actually quite, still to this day, quite a nice compliment getter for its masculine, but it's also really different from the Dios of Anjos and the Bleu de Janelles and all the Azzaro fragrances, the Wanted by Night, those kinds of fragrances, you know, the sweet modern fragrances. This one is more of an old school masculine fragrance, and that means that not too many people wear it, and that's why it stands out and it's masculine. So you know, it's quite a compliment getter. Then we're going on to a much more of a tropical kind of scent. And this one is Tommy Bahama Scent Kids. It has a real nice bit of a tropical fruit cocktail vibe to it. And definitely a nice fragrance. If you think of tropical fruit cocktail kind of fragrance, you perhaps assumed this one will be you know, a summer kind of fragrance, but I think it's definitely a little bit warmer weather kind of fragrance, but really fast becomes a little bit too hot, you know, for this kind of fragrances, because it has the sweetness, it has the fruitiness, and you know, when it becomes too hot and you sweat a little bit, it will be way too projecting, a way too clawing onto your skin when it's really warm outside. So that's why I put it into the spring part of this video. But it's a real nice tropical kind of scent, and especially you know, in the last part of spring when you're dreaming about summer, or you're dreaming all the time about summer. You know, this one really will put you in the mood for. I will put it on the tester strip. I'm talking about it. I'm hyping it up a little bit because I really like it. But it's living in the Netherlands. It's not that long of a time the right warmth for this fragrance. I guess for in around 24 degrees Celsius, around that temperature, it is the, you know, the sweet spot. But it's a real nice sweet tropical fruit kind of fragrance. But again, you really have to the climate for it to wear it. Tommy Bahama, Scent Kids. And then we're going on to a real classic. It's of course Acqua di Jour by Giorgio Armani. This is of course a real nice masculine, bit dated. What was it? Early 90s, something like that. This one came out. It's a citrusy aromatic kind of fragrance. It has a little bit of sweetness, but it's of course the most sought fragrance, men's fragrance on earth. I only have a tiny bottle of it. I really like it, however. It's actually the fragrance of my uncle. So every time I smell this, I think, hey, it's Peter. But yeah, it's everyone has smelled this, of course. This is the most sold men's fragrance. Everyone has an uncle, a grandfather, a father, someone, a neighbor, someone who has this. That's really, of course, a testament to the niceness of this fragrance, to the use of this fragrance. This is really a 4-season kind of fragrance. Winter is of course a little bit difficult, for it's a citrusy fragrance, but if you spray it heavily enough, this still could be nice in winter. So yeah, what's more to talk about is this. You can wear it every time, everywhere, during day, during night. This is just a fragrance for whenever, whatever you can use it. Acqua di Gio, the original, the EDG. And then we go on to a one of my most cherished fragrances of the, I think, of the whole collection. I have a couple sweethearts of mine, if you will, but this one is really a yeah, it really hits the sweet spot for me. It's Miel d'Arabie by Chopard, and this is the Jardin collection, I believe. And I will put it on my hand. All right. This is an interesting kind of fragrance, for it has miel, which is of course honey. So the name really reads out Miel d'Arabie, honey of Arabia. But the sweetness of honey, but it's not a sweet fragrance. It's just a little bit of an accent, if you will, a little bit of sweetness, but it's covered with spiciness. There's a little bit of a tea vibe to it. There's a freshness throughout of it. So it's really moving with the flow, if you will. And again, that little bit of sweetness from the honey gives it a nice texture for spring. But I guess, you know, when it's a little bit warmer, you can still wear this. But if it's really hot outside, this one could be a little bit too much. But for the in-between seasons, fall and spring, this one is a real nice one. I really love this fragrance. I will wear this upcoming Saturday to my grandmother. Okay, I will put it not with the other fragrances, but in a separate spot. Take a sip of tea and go on to the next one. And that one was Miel d'Arabie by Chopard. Alright, we're almost halfway through the spring part of this fragrance. It's already a real long, it's a real long video already. I really have to hurry up. Alright, we're going on with Bvlgari Glacial Essence. It's a nice citrusy kind of fragrance, but it has a little bit of sweetness in it. It's almost like a lemonade, diet lemonade, and not one with a little with way too much sugary tones in it, but a little bit tartness in it. I really don't have enough space up there. So it has the faintest bit of tartness in it, but there's also a sweetness underneath it, which really uplifts the fragrance and makes it nice for a spring season. This is a really likable fragrance, and this is really a fragrance you can wear everywhere. You could wear it to funerals, you can wear it to weddings, you can wear it to the beach, shopping, it doesn't matter. It's just that kind of fragrance. It's nice, fresh, citrusy, and in every season except winter, this will perhaps even if it's winter and you know it's your signature scent and you spray it heavily, you will still be smelled. It's that kind of scent, everywhere, any place, any time, wherever. Really likable. The Chopard. This was Bvlgari, Bvlgari Man Glacial Essence. And the next one I will also spray on a tester strip for. It's a real nice scent profile. And this one is Beau de Jour by Tom Ford. And this is a quintessential barbershop fragrance. It really has a really nice lavender note in it. It's a real bit of uplifting, like, and that's why I put it in the spring list. For it has a little bit of heaviness, like heavier than a Azzaro kind of fragrance, but it also has the uplifting effect of the lavender. So it has a really makes you feel like it's almost summer, like it's coming kind of fragrance. I really like it. Yeah, gonna wear this way more often. I should wear it. Oh man. Beau de Jour. Also, if you want, this is of course the Tom Ford, which means it's around, I don't know anymore, 100, 140 euros, something like that. Also depending, of course, where you live. But if you can still find it, there is a Davidoff fragrance called Zeno, which is a little bit not the same. This one has more depth to it and more quality, if you will. But you know, check it out if you think this one is a bit too much. And then we have a sack, and this will be Geoffrey Beene Grey Flannel. And this is a nice old school masculine fragrance. It's pretty soapy, but it also has a foresty vibe in it. So I liken it to a soap made in the scent dying trees in the middle of the forest. It has that kind of soapy with some vegetation kind of vibe, and it sounds horrible if you put it that way. I wish I had more space or on my arms or more tester strips to go in depth with it. I reviewed this already, and it's a real cheap gem. This is actually 120 milliliters, and it's real cheap. I don't know what I paid for it. 15 euros, 20 euros, something like that. And it didn't came in a box, but in this sack. So yeah, I find it quite funny. It's from the 70s, I believe, so it's definitely dated, but it just has the combination between the freshness of the forest and a little bit of the old school masculine kind of fragrance. Not popular fragrance, but I really like it. And that will be Felce Aromatica by Saponificio Varesino. And that is I believe, an Italian shaving brand. And this is really a Fougère, a Vin kind of fragrance. So it has a little bit of greenness from the vines, but it also has a real nice citrus notes throughout of this fragrance, which makes it a bit of a Aromatic fougere. So it's definitely meant for the warmer seasons, but it has a bit of a nice sweetness in it, and that's why I put it in the spring list. For I think this fragrance shines way more when it's not too hot. Definitely check it out if you can find it. And this is Saponificio, Varesino, Felce, Aromatica. And then we have a nice fragrance called Argos pour Homme. The brand name is Argos. I believe from the US. It's a citrusy fragrance with a nice mint note in it, which makes it a little bit more uplifting, but also the mint gives it a real, like a little bit of a menthol, a little bit of a freshness to it. So I actually will put it on a tester strip also. But nice atomizer, pressurized. Yeah, so this is, again, what I said before, nice citrusy, but the mint note in it is really what separates it from, you know, your regular spring and summer fragrances. This one could very well be a real nice summer fragrance also. It's just a warmer weather kind of fragrance. So definitely check it out if you want to. And then we're going on to Quorum. This is a last review. I actually reviewed this one outside, which was really nice. It's green, a little bit soapy kind of fragrance. There's an old school masculine push to it. That cheap. I think you definitely should be a little bit older to wear this. Actually, I think I'm still too young to wear it. I really like it for, I like the old school masculine kind of fragrances. Definitely check this one out. Next one will be CK1, Calvin Klein 1, and this is actually my my first fragrance I owned. I got this when I was, I believe when I was 14, 15. Well, I'm 29 right now, so let's say it's 14 years old, this bottle. I don't wear it too often, as you can see. This is, however, a 200 milliliter bottle. So I think I 40 milliliters out of it, something like that. It's a little bit aromatic, citrusy fragrance. It's quite a soft fragrance. I most of the time liken it to the smell of a fabric softener on your clothes, like that kind of vibe. I believe it has a little bit of lavender in it. I could be wrong. It's a very long time I wore this one. And again, I'm out of tester strips. I have one left. And that's for a very special one. It's real cheap. You can still readily available. It came out somewhere in the 90s, I believe, but you can still find it everywhere. Yeah, check it out if you liked a little bit more softer laundry detergent kind of projection, like a real soft fabric softener kind of vibe, but nice, fresh, citrusy, little bit aromatic, if I'm correct. CK1. All right, and then a new one on the channel. Actually, the whole line of it is new on my channel, and this is Fragrance World's coffee collection line in the scent of Kopi Luwak. And Kopi Luwak, Kopi means, and Luwak is a civet cat, so it's an animal actually, and Kopi Luwak is made as a nocturnal kind of a civet cat, and it's During the night, it goes to the coffee plants to eat the best berries. And when they defecate also only the best coffee beans. And that's where they make coffee luwak from. And the funny thing about, I actually drank it a couple times, coffee luwak, it's quite expensive because of the whole process, etc. But the funny thing about this fragrance is it's a long time ago, like a decade ago I drank it, but smelling it, it brings me back to the scenario, like I was on the Pasar Malam Bazaar, and I was looking at it, talking about it with the guy behind the counter, and it was way too expensive. I don't know what it was, 10 euros a cup, perhaps more, I don't know. It was way too expensive. So I didn't want to do it, but I did want to do it or try it, because it was strange. And actually there was someone else behind the counter drinking one cup, and he gave me a cup. So that's still memory behind of it. It's a real nice, a little bit heavier, of course, because of the coffee. But it's actually, up close, it's way too heavy, and I wouldn't put it in a spring or summer list. But the sillage of the fragrance is a nice, cozy, but also has an uplifting vibe, like the coffee scent does. And that's why I think, like early spring or middle spring, when it's got a little bit warmer, but not too warm, and you know, it has a little bit of push because of the warmth, this could be a real nice scent too. Again, really in the sillage, in a on a cuddle distance. This one will be a little bit too heavy for the spring and summer. On to the last one of this list. This video is already way too long, I guess. This is my bottle of Bois de Portugal. It's a nice old school masculine fragrance. It has some nice green notes. It has some nice spiciness. It's definitely a gentleman kind of scent. I guess you like the old school masculine fragrances. This one is actually also an old school masculine kind of fragrance. I guess you probably should be a little bit older to wear it. Again, I guess 30 plus. It's also a little bit more of a chic kind of fragrance, like if you have a important meeting for work, or I don't know, a bit of, you have a date, and it's like a high class event or whatever. I haven't reviewed this one yet. I will eventually. I've actually want to buy a new bottle, or look into getting a new front piece thingy on it, because again, I wiped it off with the Great Aventus oil, which is quite a shame, and I'm still bothered by it. But yes. Right, this was the first part